Well, that is a mouthful. Well, I know you don't agree with me about vernacular school, that we should have only one school, that it's not necessary that the national school should teach only in Bahasa, but should also teach in Tamil and Chinese. Well, all that we can do at the moment, we have to realize the reality of the situation. We have to accept the reality of the situation. We are not in a position to abolish vernacular school in different languages. We are not in a position, unless, of course, you want to precipitate a kind of instability in this country. We practice democracy and we need to have people to support us. If people don't support us, we cannot win elections. We will lose elections, and when we lose elections, nothing that we regard as ideal can be implemented at all. I want to explain what happened to me in 1969. I won the election in 1964 with 4,000 majority in a Malay constituency of 35,000 voters, of which only 5,000 voters were non-Malays. But in 1969, I lost the election, not because the Malays do not support me. They support me. Even the majority of them support me. But when the non-Malays decided not to give their votes to me, but to give their votes to the opposition, although they do not like the opposition, I lost the election. So the non-Malays also play a very important role in a Malay constituency. On the other hand, the Malays play a minority Malays play a very important role in a Chinese or Chinese majority constituency. So we are dependent upon each other. If we accept, of course, that this country should remain democratic. Of course, if we don't want to be democratic, we can disregard what is the thinking of the Chinese and the Indians. At this moment in time, they want to retain their vernacular school, and we have no means of using force to stop their vernacular school. Of course, if you want to learn Tamil, you want to learn Chinese, I think you can do that. Lots of Malays go to Chinese schools and they graduate with good results in Chinese school. If you like to go to Tamil schools, you can also, except that there are no secondary Tamil schools. So we cannot really, practically speaking, as a politician, I know that we cannot abolish vernacular schools. Second, with regard to social equality and social justice. Equality does not mean justice. Equality does not mean even fairness. If you have a football match between adults and little children, the rules are the same, the field is the same, level playing field, but the size of the participants are different. Is that fair? It's not fair. Obviously, you have to have people of the same age playing against each other. That is, that can justify them competing. But when you have people who are advanced and competing with people who are backwards, then there will be no justice. In every game, in golf, for example, you have handicaps. For the bad player, they have handicaps which enable them to play against better players because they have an advantage in that the better players would have extra, well, I don't know what they call it, but something extra to make them equal to the bad player. In life, there has to be this kind of adjustments. You have to be, we cannot just be equal, but we must also be fair. Equality by itself does not mean fairness. As much as communism, which tries to bring about equality between people, simply resulted in a lot of people being killed because they cannot be made equal. That is not the kind of thing that we want to see. So I would go for social justice rather than social equality. With regard to the qualities of a leader, we chose democracy for this country. Democracy is the best system of administration or government that has ever been invented by human beings. But there are weaknesses in a democracy. We should expect that the majority of the people would choose the best leader to lead them. Unfortunately, the majority of the people may not be able to judge the quality of the person presenting himself as a candidate. He may support that person because he is of the same race, or he is my grandfather, or he is related to me in some way, and things like that. Or he comes from my village, therefore I will support him whether he is good or bad. Sometimes, of course, the majority of the voters are influenced by bribery and corruption. And they choose people who bribe them. The result is that you get very poor quality leaders. So democracy works only if you understand the limitations of democracy. If the people who are voting realize that they must vote for the best leader and not because the leader gave them something, or because the leader is of their own race, or because the leader belongs to their own party. They must choose the best leader possible. And if they can do that, then we can have good leaders coming from democracies. But we have no choice. We cannot have autocracy. We cannot have a dictatorship. Because in a dictatorship, you cannot remove the dictator through voting. But in a democracy, it is still possible to remove a leader who is not delivering merely by voting. So the world is not perfect. We are not perfect. And unless we learn to have good values, to reject corruption and things like that, we may be led by very poor leaders indeed. So that is all that I can say to your very difficult question.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is with deepest regret that we have to bring this Q&A session to an end, but we will take one final question up above on Tribune C, above there.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First of all, thank you to Master of Ceremony. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Habib Tun Mahathir, our rector, Dr.